This is New Testament biblical for the Gnostics. And one of the other arguments that I hear a lot is that if you listen to Jesus, that Yahweh's not his father. Jesus never says the name Yahweh, but rather Theos exclusively, or El Elyon. I mean, of course, Jesus doesn't use Yahweh in the record of his sayings. It's in Greek. Yahweh is a Hebrew word. It would not be written in the Greek that way. It wouldn't. They didn't have those words. And Jesus may have used the Aramaic version of that, but there was no practical way in the Greek to record it. So in the Greek language, they would have referred to it as Adonai, or in the Greek, Kyrios. Now, a lot of times people that are against the Yahweh narrative will put up comparisons to Yahweh in the Old Testament, Jesus in the New Testament, and say that Yahweh in the Old Testament was a cruel God, a cruel entity. And if you listen to the words of Jesus, that you will see that he was against this entity and they are not the same. Absolutely not. And I'm here to show you how that Jesus and Yahweh are not only one and the same, but speak the same as well. And we're going to start with some comparative text that I told you very early on in this episode that I was going to do, where Jesus is literally quoting the Old Testament. And those verses that he's quoting in the Old Testament have the word Yahweh in them as well. Some people think that the 10 Commandments were given by Satan himself to Moses, because Yahweh's Satan. Matthew 15:4, this is Jesus talking. For God commanded, honor your father and mother, and whoever reviles father or mother must surely die. Exodus 20:12, honor your father and mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Whosoever curses his father or mother shall be put to death. Jesus is literally quoting the 10 Commandments that are supposedly given by Yahweh Satan, Lord your God. Lord in the Old Testament, in this verse in Exodus 20:12, translate to what? Yahweh. Jesus is literally saying, for God commanded. Who's this God if he's referring back to Exodus 20:12 specifically? And that word is Yahweh. He is talking about his father, Yahweh. Yahweh is not an evil deity. Yahweh is his father. Yahweh is him. That is exactly what he's saying. That cannot be misconstrued. That is legitimate. That is from Jesus' mouth himself. He is quoting the Old Testament. And in that Old Testament verse, the word Yahweh is used.